so many mysterious, bizarre sides to this story about the missing Malaysian Airlines jet. The plane was off the radar. It was flying, hundreds of miles from where it was supposed to be going. But one newspaper has been reporting how people have been phoning the mobile phones that belong to the passengers, and instead of just going dead as you would expect them to, they've been ringing. Well, and this has got a few people confused.
It's true, because I think usually when a telephone is off or is not functioning, you just go straight to the voicemail. That's generally how it operates. So I think a lot of family members, when they realised that that the phones were ringing out, it added to the confusion. Perhaps it gave them a sense of hope, a false sense of hope, who knows. Then it turns out Malaysia Airlines tried the same with the pilots. Same thing was happening. So the newspapers have been looking, and media have been looking generally at how this can be explained. There are various technical explanations that are coming through. For example, the Huffington Post just spoke to an expert at the Institut des Mines Télécom, a French telecoms institute, and he's saying, look, essentially the last base station that the telephone was picked up by can emit a sort of an echo. This is one explanation that is being given. Others are saying, but hold on a minute, if the phone is off, especially with smartphone batteries only lasting or destroyed indeed, or smartphone batteries lasting such little time nowadays, how can you explain this? Another explanation is that certain phone operators, it might be the norm usually that it goes straight to voicemail when the phone is off, but with certain operators there are 4 or 5 rings before it goes to voicemail. So there do appear to be some...
very distressing for the families, I would imagine.
Of course.
Just another edge to the...
That's right. And this on top of news as well that the plane appears to have radically changed direction. That was picked up by
very low.
Military, indeed. So lots of, I think, do you know what it is? I think there's so many mysterious aspects to this story that the media latched onto this one aspect today, where there are actually technical explanations that do seem viable for that, where I think there are other aspects of the story that are more strange that seem to defy explanation.
I mean, a lot of it is still guesswork, and not a single part of that plane has been
found
yet.
Which is the biggest,
remember that.
the biggest mystery of all.
Okay, let's move on to something else. Now, politicians spend a lot of their time trying to learn how to communicate with young people, don't they? Now, President Hollande thinks he might have nailed it.
So instead of growing a mohawk, he's decided to bring in a trendy backroom operator. This is a speechwriter, and I had his name written down. His name is Pierre-Yves Bouquet, which sounds rather establishment. He's a 40-year-old political, what would you say, senior civil servant.
He's 40?
He's 40, which is very young for an administration hack. In any case, he also goes by the name of Pierre Evil, right? And he's written a book called... That's not him, but it's a book that he's written called Gangster Rap.
Pierre Evil, that's a better name. I would go with that.
Pierre Evil writing your speeches, that'll spice them up a little bit, won't it? Now, he's into Tupac Shakur, Ice-T, Notorious B.I.G., Snoop Dogg, etc., etc. So, now, the thing is...
It's all American rap.
All of this would make you think that he went into a Paris banlieue, François Hollande, got a guy with a hoodie, dusted him down... got him to exchange his what would you say, his hip hop clothes for an Yves Saint Laurent suit, and installed him in a back office of the Élysée Palace with some bling. That's what I thought, yeah. Some bling left over from Sarkozy, maybe. But in any case, no, he's actually an anarch, which means he went to the senior, or to that, prestigious school.
Oh, how disappointing.
And he is, in fact, a senior
He's not
government
MC
official.
Solar.
He moonlights as Pierre Evil. But in any case, he might spice up the speeches, except it appears, according to French media analysis, he doesn't know the first thing about French rap. And there is actually a very big French rap scene.
There's a lot of
He
French
only
rappers.
cares about the Americans. The American rappers.
I'm not sure
that's going to help much, is it?
Resonate with the French voters, will it? But hey, try it if you can.
You need to bring in somebody who knows what French rappers.
Anything to jazz up those speeches. François Hollande's speeches do tend to go on.
That's right.
A lot of detail.
But,
very heavy on detail.
He does need, I suppose, to every help he can get in terms of reaching out to the young people.
All right then. We're going to end with a board game from 1941, where you go around the boards and you get to get yourself colonies in Africa.
Extraordinary, isn't it? This was picked up by a Slate.com blog called The Vault.
This is a real, genuine board game.
It's a real board game from 1941. It was called Trading Game France, the Colonies, right? And so what you did is you had cards which represented all of the resources you could have in the colonies. There were also pitfalls such as intemperance or hanging out too much with the natives and stuff like that. It's a pretty tasteless game, to be honest, and it's quite extraordinary that it ever existed. For example, if you accumulated all of the cards representing all of the resources in one colony, it was considered exploité and ruled out of the game.
If you
had drained it of all its resources, so now it was no further use.
Oh, so you get rid of it, just leave them to it.
Unbelievable bad taste.
Wow.
Now, next somebody was telling me about this earlier. There was also a board game called May 68, and this pitted the police against demonstrators. You can see various stills of it here. So I think that's down the list of tasteless French board games, but still a little bit weird.
Brilliant. I'm sure you can find some more of those for us, James, if you try.
Well, we could play a game upstairs just to spice up the old
Excellent.
the work day.
Okay, James, thank you very much indeed. James Cruiser there with Media Watch. Now, moving on, it's time for our focus report.